Please welcome to the stage Julie Hyman of Yahoo Finance and Poul Weihrauch of Mars, Inc.
Thanks very much for being here. As Paul was joking with me backstage, we've gone from defense and military to candy, peanuts, as he put it. But very important topic nonetheless, how we're integrating sustainability into business. And as you'll hear throughout this conversation, Mars very much integrates those two elements. Back in 2015, they set their sustainability goals and found in 2023 that they had reduced their greenhouse gas emissions by 16%, while at the same time growing sales by some 60%, 60%. So the idea being that business growth can work together with sustainability. So please join me in welcoming Poul Weihrauch, CEO of Mars Incorporated. Thanks for being here. So, you all set those goals back in 2015. How did you go about then meeting them? How did you go about integrating that sustainability practice into the everyday business?
So first of all, our owners, the Mars family, set out a compass. And the compass is basically our shareholder objectives that encompasses growth, high quality growth, normal P&L metrics. And then it also has a positive societal impact element, and it has a reputation element in it. And that was very important for our owners to make sure that where we operate as a company, we contribute positively to society. Those objectives cascade to us in management, and we integrated them into the way we do business. And we wanted to set out a path where we could show responsible growth. So the fact that we can grow the company at the same time as we reduce our footprint. And in each of our businesses, we have fundamentally three businesses. We have a confectionery snacking business, a large pet care business, and a food business. In all of those businesses, we integrated objectives around greenhouse gases and around plastic objectives of reducing plastic and have more recycled material, and also thriving people in our supply chain. And the second, we made it part of the way we do business and integrated it into the business. We mapped out a lot of activities to deliver the progress. So one or two examples of those. We work with 1,900 farmers in the United States on smart agriculture, and to make sure that the grains that go into IAMs and into pedigree are from the right practices of farming that reduces our greenhouse gases. So it's a very long set of activities for a very long period of time since we set out these objectives that have gotten us to this state. And really what we wanted to prove is that it's possible to have responsible growth. It is possible to break the curve, to grow the business at the same time as we decline our greenhouse gases. And then we have a belief in Mars that if we behave well, act well as an enterprise, we will be a very attractive employer. And what we have found out is that the young people that look for a job today, different to when I look for a job, the first question is, why should I work for you? It's not, can I please have a job? That's when I graduated. It was, can I please have a job? What good do you do for society? So there's a new generation that asks some very good questions to us, and I firmly believe that we cannot attract the best people, which are the ones we want, unless we are a great employer that stands for things beyond the products we sell.
Now, as you alluded to, you decided to apply these sustainability metrics not just to your direct business. You looked at your supply chain, you looked at agriculture, you looked at retailers who were selling your product as well. Why did you decide to sort of go that far down the chain?
Yeah, so if we take what is called scope 1, 2, and 3 of emissions, what is in our control in a food and agriculture business is 4% of the total emissions. So 96% of the impact of Mars's products, it could be chocolate, it could be pet food, the impact is outside of our door. So if we want to have a material impact and a positive impact, we have to work with our suppliers, which is what we call Scope 3, and we have to work with our customers to solve for these problems. So if we had just decided to work on our own scope, we would basically work with a cake that's 4% of the total size, and that would not be responsible in a way, because at the end of the day, we sell brands to consumers that are being consumed, and the impact it has comes from cocoa supply chain, from soy, from corn, from protein, etc. And that's where the big impact sits in the food industry.
Now, as we said, it's been almost 10 years since you all first set these goals. You've been at the company a long time. How much of a change was this in terms of having to change strategy? How difficult was it? How much did it cost? And what was that transition like?
It's a very long transition, and I think one of the biggest impacts we had was we made it part of our business planning. So tomorrow we have a review with one of our businesses. We will go through all the traditional metrics. What was your sale? What was your margin and your cash flow? But we also go through what are the achievements you have in sustainability and how much have you spent on it. So just like we spend money on advertising or salaries, we track the investments we put into sustainability. And if we take specific to greenhouse gases, we are investing $1 billion over 3 years. If we take the wider aspects of sustainability, this year we'll spend $750 million as a corporation, and I believe we get bang for the box. It's an investment, and we will see positive impact through the way we run our business, through the talent we attract. And I think really if there was a message I could share, there is no trade-off between purpose and profit. There is no trade-off between sustainability and good business. So we have negative externalities as businesses. We have to solve for them. We are responsible for them at the end of the day. And leaning into that is very important for businesses to have the freedom to operate.
Let me drill down into that a little bit, because as someone who deals most of the time with publicly traded companies that are very focused on profitability, ROI, return on investment, is the thing, right? Return to shareholders. So how do you get it back? I mean, as you say, you are a more attractive employer in your view.
Yeah.
You are meeting the goals of the family that controls Mars. Talk to me a little bit more about what you feel you get back.
So if I can take the area of employment. Our associates stay on average 3 times longer than other companies in CPG. And anybody that knows how difficult and how time-consuming it is to recruit people will know that is a very big saving in its own right. The other aspect of it is that many companies have invested in green energy that have turned out to be very good investments. Having all of our operations in this country on green energy was very good during the energy crisis. So many of these, there is a quick return. On the vast majority, there will be an investment level that goes up before it goes down again, and that's part of running a business. You need to deal with inflation at times, you need to deal with investments in sustainability at times, and any responsible business leans into this.
And again, to kind of drill down on this, because again, you are a privately held company, does that afford you a luxury when it comes to sustainability? You don't have to be subject to the whims of the stock market and to individual shareholders. There's a family that controls Mars. As you say, they set the compass. You can think maybe longer term. Is that sort of how you think about it?
It's a question I get often asked. Is how you have an easy life, etc. I'm not convinced it's always an easy life, but at least let the other ones stay in the belief. And I also sit on the board of a public listed company, so I have a peek into both worlds. I'll say the following: we have a big advantage that we can grab the phone and talk to our shareholders. Should we make a long-term investment in a given area? That is absolutely a big investment. But I'll also say the following. We surveyed 14,000 consumers in the 7 biggest economies in the world. And more than 90% of them said that companies should both grow and solve for sustainability issues. Those consumers I would love they exclusively bought Mars. They actually don't. They do occasionally buy a competitor product. So it's good business long term that we serve them. And as to the public listed question, I would say if we were on the stock exchange, our numbers would be very fine. And if I was on your show an afternoon, our numbers could easily hold up versus competition. So I don't see it as a trade-off. I don't see it as a luxury. I see it as a decision you make in top management to make a priority. And then you set out very clear goals. You track against actuals. You don't track against the promises you make. And then you set a very clear path out and have teams. And if we sit in a business meeting and ask people to raise a hand if they want to join a topic, one of the areas where most hands get raised is in the area of sustainability. So it's a way of getting the troops on board as well.
Do you also feel sort of you're more insulated from sort of the political winds that have, in some cases, pushed some public companies away from these types of goals?
I actually don't think we are sheltered for that, because one of the things I've observed maybe over the last 7-8 years is that the conversation that happened outside in society of our walls of companies had moved inside. So if I tomorrow do a town hall, I will be asked those questions from my associates. From all of the people that go into our workplace, they have the exact same questions as in wider society, and then they come into us as well. And we have to deal with them in the same professional way, hopefully, as everybody else. So I don't think we are sheltered from the political environment. We are a large company. We have a turnover of more than 50 billion and 150,000 people working for us. So we are under, I think, the same scrutiny, even though at times I could wish it. We were sheltered more. I don't think we are.
And you're about to get bigger. You all announced the acquisition of Kellanova for $36 billion. It should close sometime next year. That's another $13 billion or so in sales for that company. How do you ensure when you do the integration that they are going to meet the same sustainability goals that you have already inside Mars?
Yes. So first of all, it needs to be approved by the majority of the shareholders, and then the Federal Trade Commission needs to approve it as well. But hopefully when they've done that, we will sit down with Kellanova and talk to them about the footprint they have. And maybe they are further ahead than we are, so we can learn something from them. Maybe they can learn one or two things for us, and then we will integrate them. And in fact, one of the things we have done in Mars is whenever we do an acquisition, the teams have to price the solving of the carbon footprint. So if we are looking at a company, it is priced in the cost that it will take to bring down the carbon footprint, to bring down the plastic usage in line with the commitments that Mars Inc. has made. So they will be integrated, and part of the progress we need to make and part of the commitment we have given. So it will be fully integrated.
Paul, in our last 30 seconds, one thing we didn't get to is that employee compensation is actually tied to these sustainability goals. Just briefly tell us about that.
Yeah, so for our senior managers, about top 300 in Mars Incorporated, we have tied a big percent of the compensation to progress on greenhouse gases and plastic. If I speak for myself, it's 40% of my long-term compensation is on this, and I think it's very important. But where I think it's most important is when we talk to our associates, they know we take it seriously. I don't think the number is the most important, but our associates know that when management talks about it, it's a very important feature of working at Mars Incorporated.
Paul, thank you so much, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.